Access granted. Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe.
What were the reasons for England failing to retain the urn? There's a plenty of list of reasons for those who have watched the whole Ashes, and factual reasons. There are plenty of reasons and I want to highlight it. The first is an untimely injury to Jack Leach. Short note, but a genuine spinner is a must for every team. Nathan Lyon has carried Australia's spin department for like more than 10 years and he's got good records in England too. An unfortunate injury to Jack Leach meant that England were left without a genuine spinner. They had to recall Ali out of retirement with Root as another spinner. But none of them is a full-time spinner. I mean, you cannot expect to win if your team has part-time spinners as the main ones. Also, I really don't get it. It's been like years and still I don't get the answer that why don't England give chances to Dom Bess, Parkinson in chess. I've seen them before and they've performed quite well. Parkinson even spins the ball pretty well. It's not that they lack backup spinners, I just don't get it why. England are in desperate need of a young promising spinner both in red ball and white ball cricket. Because in white ball cricket Adil Rashid is also 30 plus. At least England need to groom some young spinner before he retires. Anderson's below par series and Robinson not being at his best. James Anderson surprisingly had a lean patch all this series, and me as a die-hard Anderson fan, I was actually disappointed for the first time in a while. I mean, Anderson never looked at his best in this Ashes series, and as an experienced member, his lean patch hurt England's chances. His economy was fine, but in chess, wickets matter more because many teams don't beat 50 for no loss after just 3 overs. It was very, very hard for me to see him struggling like this, even if he was dropped for the third day. And if this continues, 700 looks a far away milestone, and although he's very close, I hope he just makes it, cause one more poor series, there'll be retirement calls even louder. He's a champion and I'm sure that he will get back to his best in the next series, believe me. And even Ali Robinson was quite a disappointment. A lot was expected from him, but I mean his only moment was his spat with Usman Khwaja. He wasn't able to back his words with performance and got dropped later. When your main player is not performing well, you are destined to lose, man, unfortunately. Throwing away winnable chances. There were two instances of this. First, the Edgbaston Test, when Australia were 229 for odd for 8, chasing 281, England having the home ground advantage, bowling on a 5th day pitch. Australia were all out of pure batters, and even England had won the toss, which they have all this series in the 4 test matches. This should have been won by England. It was their game. I mean, the Australians taught a lesson that why they are the world chess champions. They are here to make a statement. This was a big choke by England. Lot of poor fielding caused the match. And also for the declaration, I think it's partially the reason too. Not fully, partially. Because they should have got like 50 more runs before declaring. That was too much of a risky decision, can cost you too. And also the Lord's Test when Stokes got out on 155, England needed like 70 to win with 3 to 4 wickets left, which isn't easy, but it is not very difficult. But they just collapsed after that. They threw away another winning opportunity. Bairstow's run-out controversy and his poor wicket-keeping. Bairstow initially had a poor series as a wicket-keeper. He dropped way too many catches, and as we say, catches win matches. That hurt England in the first 2 tests. I mean, Bairstow is a dangerous batter, but I think the glove should be given to some other player. Let Bairstow play his game as a batsman. Although he improved his wicket keeping and batting later, but it's kind of late. I would still keep Bairstow in my team as a pure batter, and also his run out was kind of a brain fade or a poor judgment. I mean, it came at the worst time, contributing to England's defeat at Lord's. Rain might seem like an outer reason, but it did hamper a result-oriented match. Continuous rain for 2 days ensured no result, and England's slight hopes of making a comeback soaked there. Although we should blame the earlier defeats too. If they had won 2 winnable matches earlier, they could still relax as the already Ashes winners and not worry about rain hampering a result. So is a bit of reason too, but let's not go that deep because it might feel like an excuse. Not playing Wood and Woakes earlier. I get it, Ollie Robinson was the core of fast bowling recently, but Wood and Woakes deserved a chance earlier. At least one of them should have got it. After the 5th test, Chris Woakes finished as the 3rd highest wicket taker overall in this Ashes series, confirming that his presence in the first 2 matches could definitely have made a difference. I mean, Woakes' stats at home, especially at Lord's, he's way too good to be dropped. Plus he's a handy batter too. Mark Wood playing just 3 matches too, he got 14 wickets and was the 6th highest wicket taker. And he's a Bazball type batter too. I mean, these two literally came out of nowhere from the squad and became the best players for England on this Ashes, even winning the all-important Headingley test. England's regular issues. This is not only a reason for this series but overall, because since the last few years I've quite often noticed that when England take 1 or 2 wickets quickly, they let their guards down and let the opposition stitch a century partnership and afterwards take another wicket when all the damage is done. This used to happen pre-Bazball also, and it cost them a lot of times. They'll need to improve on this. Keep pressure on it, keep pressure on the opposition, even if it's the last wicket of the series when you have won 4-0. That's my suggestion. The Edgbaston declaration. Although I kind of said it earlier in this video, but this time I'm gonna go in slight detail. The Edgbaston declaration was way too risky. I mean, Joe Root was all set. Declaring on first day is pretty bold and risky. Ben Stokes may be declared keeping in mind that how England won in Pakistan last year, declaring on flat pitches and still winning afterwards. But every day is not a Sunday. The risk won't always work. But on the other hand, I think England still should have won with that 52 and 2 wickets equation. So I don't think declaration should be blamed fully because they still had a winning chance in that moment. The Aussies were just too good. Throughout the series, Australia did not actually outplay England, but they won because they utilized the tightest of moments better. You have got to appreciate the opponent's efforts even if it's not easy. Like, they lost 4 tosses in a row in an away series and still managed to retain the urn in the end. The Edgbaston miracle, the Lord's miracle, even the challengers play useful knocks. The last reason is they were slightly better team in this series. Yeah, the rain was a bit of luck, but that's 10% of the total series. Have got to appreciate the opponent's efforts anyway. Bazball mindset. Short reason, but I think the Bazball approach became too over the top here. Way too attacking mindset, which costed a lot of wickets. Like a lot of English batsmen became victim of short ball wicket, particularly in the Lord's Test, and became quite predictable afterwards. Pre-Bazball, defensive mindset was England's issue, and now it's a way too much attacking mindset. Stuart Broad, one of England's greatest pacers, announced an immediate retirement in the midst of the Oval Test match. I mean, I was just preparing for bed minutes after the 3rd day's play had ended and just found out about his retirement through my friend's Instagram chat. It was just shocking because an immediate retirement, it always felt that way. I think Stuart Broad had already kept the retirement in his mind after the Ashes, after seeing his post-match interview. I mean, Australia have been his favourite and most successful opposition team. He scored his best stats against them. He's actually been great in 2023. We see the stats, and but it's also great to see that he's finished his career on a good performance and a high, despite that England could not return the Ashes. But he personally finished on a good note. Anyway, now the real point. Stuart Broad had been a stalwart for not just for England but for the whole cricketing world. His partnership with James Anderson, a partnership worth 1,200 plus test wickets, having Anderson and Broad in the same team is like having Federer and Nadal or Messi and Ronaldo in the same team too. Broad's duels with David Warner, who's also retiring next year from international cricket, his domination of AB de Villiers, his magnificent Lord's century, him becoming a World Cup champion in 2010 at the age of just 23, his 600 test wickets, 3,500 plus runs as a lower order batsman in test cricket, 170 plus one-day international scalps, formerly the highest wicket taker for England in T20 internationals, his 8 for 15 at the Trent Bridge, his 2 test hat tricks, his 150 plus Ashes wickets, his 20 test fifers, his 3 test tenfers, him being a 4-time Ashes champion, him being a test series winner in India, Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, South Africa, and even drew a series in Bangladesh. These are the replies and achievements of a legend who was known for conceding those famous 6 sixes early in his career. I'm so gonna miss this duo, man. I thought that Anderson would be the one to retire first, but it's actually the vice versa. And I still remember seeing Stuart Broad for the first time live like 12 years ago in July 2011 versus India, taking that hat trick. It was my early cricketing days. I was just 11 years old at that time. Since then, I love seeing Anderson and Broad duo keeping the Test cricket alive as a fast bowler duo. It's gonna take some time for cricketing fans to digest an immediate retirement, but he's been such a great cricketer. A mark and redemption he's made is so unique. It can inspire a million of young generation players. Thank you, Stuart Broad. Alongside Stuart Broad, Moeen Ali also announced his second and final retirement. Ali had been recalled from retirement to fulfill the role of a spinner because of an unfortunate injury to Jack Leach, as I told earlier in this video. Now I know that Ali's stats may not have been absolutely gold as Stuart Broad's, but every player who deserves the respect, and they have all been part of this. Moeen Ali, who hadn't played the longest format for 2 years, now was suddenly back in the whites. He had to adjust his gameplay. During the Test series, 200 Test wickets as an all-rounder and spinner, it's actually a very decent stat, considering that no English spinner has ever taken 300 Test wickets. Ali was instrumental in the epic Oval Test, taking 3 crucial wickets on a day 5 pitch, and all of his wickets were proper batsmen. His role was significant to England, drawing the epic series. Moeen Ali